Hi, my name's Sophia and I tried to be straight until I was 29 years old. I'm going to tell my coming out story. Today is National Coming Out Day. It's never too late to come out. I was trapped in a relationship where I was financially dependent on a partner that I worked for. I shared a home with this person. I shared a vehicle with this person. I shared a belief system, well, kind of a belief system that I was taught growing up, that I would eventually marry a man, get a ring on my finger, have babies. And that's a lovely vision if that's what you actually want. But for women like me who come from South Louisiana, it may or may not be what we actually want. It is what we are taught to want. So let's back it up. I was married to a man before I was in my last relationship with a man who I was just dating. And when I was married to a man, that went terrible because I was taught to not have sexy time until marriage. Little did I know I didn't even like the PP, if you know what I mean. But that marriage ended for other reasons. It was absolutely terrible, horrific experience. Many of you women know what it's like to be in a marriage with someone who is emotionally abusive. So that ended, and then I ended up meeting a guy that did treat me pretty good, and things were great, and as good as, whatever. We worked together. We were happy enough, but I had a gnawing feeling since I was 5 years old that I had attraction to women, but I never acted on it because I was raised to be Christian and taught that gay people do not make it to heaven. So since I was 5, I pushed that down. And because of compulsive heterosexuality, which you should look that up if you've never heard of it. And if you are a straight person, you should really look it up so you could empathize and sympathize with gay people. Sympathize with gay people who compulsive heteronormativity have kept them from coming out. So you could just understand why. Well, then if you were gay, why didn't you just come out younger? It's because of compulsive heteronormativity. Anyway, it's a mix of societal norms, religious norms, familial norms. It put a lot of pressure on me. I heard things like, what a waste whenever adults around me saw gay people. Like, what a waste, wasting God's creation. What a beautiful man. Too bad he's gay. He'll go to hell. Those sort of things. So I never felt safe to even explore this. I push it down. When I was married to a man, I remember going to a yoga class, and I lived in Florida. And I had this yoga teacher, and she was like a ballerina with blonde hair. And every time she would come to modify during the class, she would touch my shoulder or whatever. And I would literally melt. My body would react in such a different way. Now, before this happened, I had experiences like this through college, but I was not aware. I think because I had never had sex, I was not aware of what that meant, or had not had sober sexual interactions, that I wasn't aware of the difference. So when my husband would touch me, I would feel nothing. Possibly because by the time someone emotionally abuses you so much, you do feel nothing. You literally don't care anymore. But in particular, when this woman would touch me, I would feel something crazy. Of course, I didn't leave because I was gay, because I still hadn't processed what that was, but I was able to process that there was an attraction. So things kept getting worse with that husband. I ended up leaving him and came back home. And when I came home, I met a lady at the gym who was at the time 53 and super short. And she was doing this little stretch thing. And she turned around and looked at me and had her hand in a wave. The stretch is like a yoga pose where your hands like this. And I was doing the exact same thing. We looked at each other, smiled. And from there we had this friendship fling, but we knew it was more. And we would she would give me kisses on the cheek. Now this is a 53-year-old lady. It wasn't motherly. I don't know. We would go out on dates together, but not call it that. And she was not sure what was going on. I was not sure what was going on. But during this time, I knew that I had, I want to tell her. I want to kiss her. I don't want to freak her out. I don't want to ruin our friendship. But I'm thinking I could never be with a woman publicly. What do I even do with this? I'm free of the husband. That ended. I finally can do this, but I have these religious beliefs. I don't think I'll be accepted. What do I do? I ended up telling her that I have these feelings for her after so many dates of going out and her being like, oh, I just love like this about you, that about you, and like staring into each other's eyes, and her picking me up in her little white Audi and giving me a kiss on the cheek. And like, this even hurts to talk about it now because she was my friend. When I told her how I felt, she texted me back and was like, I still have the text receipts because I want to know I'm not crazy. She texted me back and was like, I don't know what this is, but what we have is something special and I don't know what to do. And I asked her if I could come over and stay the night. And she said her son was going to be over that night and her maid was going to come in the morning. So it would be like completely inappropriate if I ended up being there when her son was awake. So, but I took it as she was like, yeah, I want to do this. Like, I am interested in you. And she said other things that were just like, yes. And she would like hold my hand and talk to me. And I remember we ended up having one more dinner after this. And she picked me up. She gave me a kiss on the cheek. We were at this local restaurant called Rufino's. It was just me and her like looking into each other's eyes. And I was like, look, I really like you. I don't know what this would be. I don't even know if I could be out. And she was like, I can't be out. And I'm like, okay, which there would really be no reason she couldn't be out. Like, she was divorced. Like, there'd be no reason. She like looked around and I remember telling her like, no one's going to know. Like, we look like just two friends at a table, which was so selling myself short, but I was like trying to convince her. And she brought me back to where I was parked. And I remember like us having this like goodbye where like, were we going to kiss or were we not going to kiss? Whatever. We didn't. The next day I texted her and said, well, let's go to New Orleans so no one knows who we are and we could take this trip together and just figure out if this is meant to be like more than just friendship. And she blocked me. She blocked me on everything. She lived in my neighborhood. She told me that every gift I had ever given her, which was like little things, was on her porch. And that was the last text I got, and then she blocked me. So I was heartbroken. At this point, I meet the guy who was the last man I was with ever, the boyfriend that I worked with. And I tell him up front, I say, I have feelings towards women. I am heartbroken. I'm going through this thing with this woman that I was best friends with for like 6 months, and now she's like completely gone. And he knew that, and he kind of like comforted me through the heartbreak. And we ended up dating, but I told him like, I am going to try to like I know I'm bi. I can't be out of the closet about it. I know I'm bi, but I'm not going to like act on it because I wouldn't cheat on you. So he's like, cool, no big deal. And he accepted it. 2 years after our relationship, 2020 happened. I am watching TikTok. I'm learning so much about compulsive heteronormativity. I'm getting educated. I'm understanding myself for the first time. My girl who did my Botox recommended me to read a book called Untamed. That is a book by an ex-Christian mommy blogger who comes out of the closet, leaves her husband who cheats on her, and ends up with a woman. I read that book. I saw myself in it. And I was like, holy moly. There were a lot of things that led up to it, but I end up going out with my then boyfriend. I'm trying to like hold all this in. I'm communicating with him, like my thoughts, but like it was never at the point that I have to do something about this. It was just like, this is what's going on internally. I was always honest. At this point, this particular day, we both had a good day working together. We were on cloud 9. We walk into our favorite sushi restaurant and this gorgeous woman comes to sit next to me. Now it is COVID times. We're both immune compromised. And this woman, who I didn't see, sits right next to me. And I am pissed off because my boyfriend's older than me. He's immune compromised. I'm immune compromised. I'm thinking 6 feet apart woman. But she wasn't about that. She tapped me again. At this point, I still haven't looked at her. She taps my shoulder and she's like, excuse me, can I sit here? Now, up until this point before I turn around, I'm thinking, 6 feet. But I hadn't turned to see how pretty she is. Okay, this is going to need a part 2. Coming right back.